Hello, my name is Kristen Gilly, and I'm a consultant with Evergreen Solutions. We are currently working on a compensation and classification study for the city of Northport. Today, I would like to tell you about our company as well as provide more information to you about the study. To begin, Evergreen Solutions is a national public sector consulting firm with many years of experience working with local governments, including cities. We have completed over 800 compensation and classification projects. However, no two projects are the same. The methodology across studies is very similar, but the recommendations we provide are unique to each individual organization because each organization has its own unique set of issues and things they want to be considered in the study. The primary goal of this study is to review the current classification and compensation system at the city to ensure internal equity. We will also be surveying peer organization salary ranges and benefit offerings to ensure external equity. Combining those two components, we will then provide recommendations for a classification and compensation system that is equitable both internally and externally. For this study, you can expect for us to provide a comprehensive classification and compensation study with recommendations that are appropriate for the city. Please do not expect a staffing study, as we are focusing on classification and compensation. We also do not guarantee across the board salary increases. As part of this study, we are asking for your participation. You will be invited to participate in a focus group session through which you will provide Evergreen with feedback about compensation and job title concerns. We also highly encourage you to complete the Job Assessment Tool, or JAT for short, which I'll describe in more detail in just a moment. Once you have completed the JAT, supervisors will then review them and have the opportunity to complete a management issues tool. As I mentioned earlier, part of your participation will involve completing the JAT. We use the JAT to gather information about your job in addition to the job description that has already been provided to us. We also use the JAT to determine whether the work is being paid competitively and fairly so that we can recommend appropriate pay levels and ranges and ultimately design a new system that is fair and equitable. Once the JAT is launched, it will be available online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week while the survey is active. It can be completed from any computer with internet access. When the window for the JAT opens, you will receive an email from Evergreen with a unique ID that you will use to log into the system. The JAT will be open to employees for 2 weeks starting Monday, November 8th. After the JAT window closes, supervisors will have 2 weeks to review the JATs. Supervisors will receive a separate email on Monday, November 22nd, reminding them to complete the supervisor review. If you do not have an email address or regular access to a computer, please contact your department representative. So here's an overview of the information that we will be collecting in the JAT, and I'll go over each one of these in more detail. Do keep in mind that it will take about 45 minutes to an hour to complete the JAT. So when you receive the email, you're going to click on the link, which will take you to this login page. You will type in your unique ID, and your last name will automatically appear. You will then hit continue. Once you log in, you will be directed to this menu. Employees will click on Employee JAT. Supervisors will click on Supervisor Review only after the JAT window has closed. After clicking on Employee JAT, you will see 5 sections. We ask that you complete each section as they all provide important information. With that said, you do not need to complete it in one sitting. However, please make sure you complete it in its entirety before the 2-week period is up. Again, this will take about 45 minutes to an hour to complete. You will also want to remember to click Save after each section so that your work is not lost. For basic job information, you will write a short paragraph providing an overview of your job. You can think of it like the first paragraph you see in any job description, but you have the opportunity to write it. You can also indicate if you supervise any employees, and if so, how many. We will also ask about the type of work you perform, whether it's clerical, technical, or managerial. You will also list the minimum education and experience needed to perform your job. Please note this is not asking about your current education or experience, but rather the minimum required for someone to do your job. You can also list any licenses or certifications that may be required for your position. Next, you will have the opportunity to write out the essential functions or tasks associated with your position. You may include up to 15 tasks. Here, you will want to describe the typical tasks that you perform, especially those that are important for the position. You will indicate approximately what percentage of your time is dedicated to that specific task and indicate whether or not it is a priority. In the end, the percentages should add up to 100. Next are the job factors that are associated with your position. There are 5 different factors with 8 statements associated with each factor. You will select the one that best describes your position. The first is leadership, or the extent to which you provide direction or receive direction. You will want to read through each statement and choose the one that best describes your level of leadership in the organization. You will notice at the bottom of each page, you have the opportunity to leave a comment regarding the statement you chose. The second factor is working conditions, or the extent to which you work in a stable environment, one with constant changes, or even more hazardous ones, including the operation of heavy machinery. Once again, please choose the one statement that is the closest match to the working conditions you experience in your job. The third factor is complexity, or the level of technical or professional difficulty associated with your position. As you read through the statements, you'll notice that each one describes various levels of complexity associated with the job. While a statement may or may not describe your job perfectly, we ask that you pick the one that is the closest to the level of complexity involved in your position. The fourth factor is decision-making, or the extent to which you may follow specific procedures and directions or make decisions on your own. Once again, choose a statement that best describes your position. The final factor is relationships, or the extent to which you may work alone, with some coworkers, or even supervise others. After this section, please remember to hit save. Moving on, the next section asks about the type of equipment and machinery you use with your job. You'll notice everything from small office equipment to heavy machinery is listed. Please choose all that apply, then click save. The last section asks about the type of work you perform, including how much lifting and carrying of objects is required. You will also indicate which physical abilities are essential to perform your job. If you are uncertain what is meant by a word, you can click on the question mark and see a description of that physical ability. Once you have made your selections, remember to hit save. Now that we've gone through each section of the JAT, let's talk about some tips. The number one tip we cannot stress enough is to click save after each section. The session does time out after 1 hour, and you would not want to lose your progress on the JAT. While it should only take about 45 minutes to complete the JAT, a good rule of thumb is to save your work every 15 minutes or so, and most definitely after each section. You can log out and back in as many times as you would like to make changes during the 2-week JAT window. If you do have any issues, questions, or concerns, please feel free to contact us directly at jat@consultevergreen.com or call our office at 850-383-0111. Now let's talk a little bit about the supervisor review. This begins after the employee JAT window closes and will last for 2 weeks. At this time, supervisors can review their direct reports JATs, but they cannot change any answers. Supervisors will indicate whether they agree or disagree with that employee's JAT and can leave additional comments. The supervisor review page looks a little bit different than the employee homepage. When supervisors log in, they will see their direct reports JATs and will click on each JAT and review them individually. As you can see, supervisors can read what the employee entered. They will then indicate if they agree or disagree with what was written and can leave comments. They cannot, however, change an employee's answer. Supervisors also have the opportunity to complete a management issues tool in which they can go into more detail about any classification issues they see in their area. For example, they can mention some job titles that could be revised to better reflect the duties and responsibilities associated with those positions. Supervisors can also provide feedback about any compensation-related issues, such as compression or non-competitive salaries. They can also leave comments to give more details regarding any issues. Now that we've gone over the employee JAT, supervisor review, and management issue tool, we hope that you will take the time to complete these surveys, as they are extremely helpful and provide much needed information for the study. I thank you for your time, and of course, please feel free to contact us if you have any questions.